contribution of other sciences, whether chemistry, physics, that most of the Nobel Prizes in biology, so-called, have been won by the chemists. The one what we talk about, the even gas, you must have heard about that one. Chemistry, physics, that most of the Nobel Prizes in biology, so-called, have been won by the chemists. The one what we talk about, the even gas, you must have heard about that one. Chemistry, physics, that most of the Nobel Prize. मैंने कहा मेरी आवाज कहां से आ रही है? Yeah, a breakthrough discovery in biology of people trained in techniques of other disciplines. Many of the Nobel Prize in chemistry are awarded for discoveries related to biological sciences. चलने दे भाई, क्या बात है? See, if you look at a chemical science, mathematics, computing, physics, technology, and biological science, what we use now, they all combined together have given us a new vistas of development, whether it's we talk about omics or a stem cell, anything you talk about, or even organ on a chip, OCC. And that is all possible because the combination of all these areas, whether chemical sciences, physical, mathematics, biological sciences, and today we have computational sciences, which are an integral part of the total development. Yes, see what this emerging technology, what I mentioned, technologies of development, practical applications are still largely unrealized. We think about that one, we are dreaming about that one, but we do not know whether we'll be completely successful or not, or technologies that are currently developing are expected to be available within next years and create a significant social and economic effects. Because everywhere now, economics is a part of the total system. We had a, genotype, phenotype. Today, we have a genomics and phenomics. In between, we have a transcriptomics, metabolomics, all those things are there. But ultimately, we are coming to the phenotype. That's how the individual behaves when some changes are brought for that one. So you start from a genotype, phenotype, coming back to the genomics and phenomics with all proteomics, metabolomics, all in between them. See, so emerging technology, especially in biomedical sciences, they have done wonders and they are expected to do wonders. All these are playing important role in what we call point of care. Now the patient care is replaced by point of care. That is, we have to point out what is the defect and how it can be treated. For example, we talk about personalized medicine. Now we can even predict, there's a predictive genomics, then protective genomics, causative, so all those things are there. So it made possible new emerging technologies. So we have, it is good. So we have a characteristic of emerging technology, radical novelty in application, even if not in origin. Relatively fast growth, there's a coherence, prominent impact, but uncertainty and ambiguity. And what is the impact? Enhances intellectual and physical ability because they give us a thinking power. We keep on thinking, this is the technology, we have reached over here, from here, where to go? We only keep on thinking from here, where to go. For example, when the gut microbiome was discovered a couple of years back, people used to play a joke. What this is a joke. It's not possible. The paper got rejected many times, but ultimately now it's realized, yeah, this is a main thing which is responsible for almost every disease what we have in the human being, whether it's a gut microbiome, nasal microbiome, colon microbiome, anything, but that's a but now for even for cancer or even COVID. See, there's a blood-brain barrier crossing. It's because of the microbiomes, but I'm not going to do that. So it enhances intellectual and physical ability, also lies in the future. And so the emergence phase is still somewhat uncertain and what we call ambiguous. But this is a convergence. All these technologies that come up, it's a convergence of various technologies which were available to us. We had radio, we had television, print media, videos, audios, picture, and computer. We had all those things. But when the internet came, it combined all of them and gave rise to a new technology, what we call emerging technologies, what we had to, because if you look at a mobile today, it's a combination of all the technologies. You go for the imaging technology, it's a combination of all the television we have, audio we have, sab kuch hai uspe. So it's a all combination giving us a solution or a possible pathway to the problem solving what we have amongst us. So there's been march of science. Nothing is a de novo. There has been a march of science for last so many years, some milestone march of science, 16th to 20th century. For example, we had a Copernicus system, then gravity by Newton, oxygen by Lavoisier, electricity Faraday, chemicals in Euler, and evolution by Darwin, bacteria, disease, Pasteur. Like that, if we find 1953 when DNA was discovered. But DNA could not have been discovered unless some physicists had played a role in that one. As well, some engineers had played some role in that. So that is how you have a combination of all other areas to decipher the biological material or application of biological material. And what happened in 21st century is a game changer. The game changer is using all those technologies. We have the human genome mapping, and today we know just last year complete mapping was done. Though we had it in 2003, but it was completely done recently. Then synchron crystallography, nanoscience, stem cell CRISPR, then cognitive science, imaging technology, and ultimately artificial intelligence and machine learning combined with the microfluidics, we are thinking of solving our problems in one go. But these all combinations with the pre-existing knowledge, what we are thinking about 1600 time and till today, we are moving forward because there's a combination of the computational science to all these areas. So rapid innovations, emerging technology, healthcare, artificial intelligence, robotics, 3D bioprinting, and nanomedicine, cloud computing. All those things are giving us a new areas, new solutions. See, AI algorithm developing deep learning networks. Then as Dr. Satan told you, that your brain itself has artificial intelligence. It's not what is there, but it is having artificial intelligence over there. So I'm not going to name all those because what we are bothered about is to have a peaceful, successful, healthy society to so that the world can go on. So I'm not going to name all those things. We have infrastructure simulation, then genetic engineering, omics, spectroscopy, imaging, all these joined together have an application, principles, and instrument infrastructure also has been developed on the basis of that one. So emerging fields from man to molecule. Earlier, what we used to do, we go from molecule to man. How we had an atom, became ion, from ion we had a molecule to conservates, because Dr. Dua must have talked to you, from conservates to a cell, pre-cell, cell, tissue, organ, all those things. But today, we are going from organ to molecule to understand how the organelle formed from a molecule, and so that we can go reverse. Once we know the pathway, we can have a reverse pathway that from molecule we can go above like that one. So this is what we had a, you see, we have a system, organ, tissue, and cell, a molecule. But how the molecule work, most important part is you might have a gene with you, but will it work? Will it express? Unless you create an environment over there. That environment is very, very important, what we call epigenetics. For example, you have an egg, unfertilized egg, diploid in the beginning, but that can also form an embryo if proper stimulation is given. Proper environment, there's no need of sperm at that time. Proper stimulation is given, the egg can become an embryo. So that is how what the epigenetics is playing a role, because in the egg itself, everything is mapped. In the egg, there's every map from where arm will form, from where brain will form, from which area is destined to form heart. And this, all those primitive areas we used to study in earlier embryology period, but today it has proved because the cytoplasm contains specific proteins in specific areas. So when its stimulation is there, the maternal genes get activated, they express the proteins, those proteins then activate other genes, and those genes then activate the other protein like that one. It's a cascade of events. Cascade event says that one gene getting activated, it will produce a number of proteins, and those number of proteins will activate a much more number of genes, and then those 10 genes, for example, one gene activate through proteins 10 genes, those 10 genes will activate another 100 genes. Like that, there's an amplification, but there is a diversification also. Amplification followed by diversification, and that all occurs due to the what environment? That's a microenvironment, inner environment, macro environment, all those work which comes under the epigenetic. And how it happens? There are certain signals coming. Whatever the outer environment is, it sends up signals inside कि अब ये gene ने active होना है. So signal transduction is another important area which has revolutionized the total biological system to understand what life is and how life works and how life can be modified for the betterment, or how we can enhance the human capacity. That's ultimately, that's important. Enhancement of human capacity is the most important part in that way. So from where it started? It started long ago, right from Mendel we have the information available there. But with the Human Genome Project, because it's a basic biological process, and study gene functions, identify candidate diseases, cause inheritance of a disease, variation contribute to disease sensitivity, and count of human genes 20 to 25K or so. Nobody's sure it till today. Reason being that a part of a DNA which is a gene now, after a few minutes, it can become a non-genic, or a part of it becomes a genic. So there's all these things are happening. That's how millions of proteins are there, but the number of genes, and so far we know at one time 20 to 25 times. So we had tracking down the life codes after the Human Genome Project was formed. So, but the things were again revolutionized by another technology, which has come, CRISPR-Cas technology. Now, what we use to produce transgenics, to have our own proteins of our choice. Animal may, insects, including insects, they have been using that transgenesis. कि बाहर से जीन लाके किसी एनिमल में डाल दो, उसकी प्रॉपर्टी बदल जाएगी, और you will get a protein of your choice, or even you can get in the cow's milk, you can get, or goat milk, you can get the protein of your choice or drug of your choice. Now there's no need. You have a gene, modify, put back, same gene, autologous gene. you can modify it and put back over there, and that's what called the CRISPR-Cas कि उसको काट के change करिए, base change करिए, or what will have a new gene available there to produce that one. So what cutting, pasting, and replacing is the best part, which a CRISPR-Cas technology for last 5-6 years has revolutionized the total molecular biology, or what we call biotechnology. It has an important. So CRISPR capabilities are there. See, it helps in biomanufacturing. We can new things biologically produce, because chemically produced things are not useful now. It has realized that if you have anything, there's a pollution problem, other problems are there. So biomanufacturing is taking up because of this one. Then in agriculture too, it is very helpful. This technology is helpful. Healthcare, environment, name any problem, you have a solution in the CRISPR-Cas technology over there. So in livestock, CRISPR in animals, what we have enhanced breeding capacity, we can do that. Then enhanced meat production, enhanced performance, disease-resistant animals, enhanced productivity, could research species, animal models for research, and that is how it can help that full-grown Belgian blue bull inactivated MST genes, because the gene causing disease, it can be inactivated there. In agriculture too, the advanced accuracy of CRISPR can be applied. So in environment too, sustainable, everybody talk about sustainable development. Even UN talk about the 17-point charter is there, and environment is one of the major one over there. In that, so sustainable development what we call better degradation of oil spillage. That's so we had bacteria which are produced by this one, and in Indian Dr. Chatterjee was he got the prize for that one. And then bacteria, CRISPR could provide clean water, cut pesticide use, and protect the environment, for example, to improve bacteria for nitrogen fixation. Or CRISPR can make more efficient to reduce the pollution there. And insects, there have been a lot of expectations from insects. One, they are carrier of the pesticides and parasites also. So many problems are there, but so many uses are also there. And both the drawbacks can be reduced and the usefulness can be increased with this one. The insects may be specifically engineered using CRISPR for targeted pollination, then reduce disease transmission such as dengue, malaria, Zika, etc. And today it's very important. Today it's very important, and then carry genetically engineered viruses for biodefense. So in healthcare, we find a lot of importance of this technology. Rectifying genetic mutations, for example, SNP correction. Why we two persons are different from each other? Nobody is alike. Even twins are not exactly alike. They behave differently. I give example that two persons going to a doctor, same drug is given for same disease, but one gets cured, other doesn't get cured, because it depends upon your drug metabolizing gene. Or if you take a coffee or you take some food, somebody can digest, others cannot. It's because your cytochrome P450, which is a big class. We have a subclass, subclasses of the that cytochrome P450 genes. For example, I give example that in cytochrome P450E, there's one SNP, single nucleotide polymorphism. Every individual has about 500,000 SNPs. What SNP mean? That we have a one amino acid, one codon, what we call AGT. For example, if the T comes in the middle, what will form? ATG. Like same way, you have Kamal, Kamala. अगर ला बीच में आ जाए तो क्या हो जाएगा? कलम. So the function of both is different. कमल का function और कलम का function कितना different है. Same way, अगर SNP में कोई change होता है, which is an integral part of our genome. That is why some people are more prone to disease. We have already found out some protective and susceptible genotypes on the basis of immunological genes, metabolizing genes, other genes. We have published about 100 papers on those ones, well quoted that way. That is how the certain people are susceptible to certain cancer. फिर कल को देखिए सिंपल सी बात है, I say tobacco causes cancer. कोई उठेगा नहीं जी मेरे दादाजी तो 100 साल के हैं और अपना हुक्का पीते हैं, उनको तो कुछ नहीं हुआ. It's a safety in his DNA. Is in SNP which metabolizes tobacco smoke. That's or even 99% of women are carrier of HPV, human papilloma virus, which is responsible for cervical cancer. But not all of them get the cervical cancer. Only a fraction of that one, maybe less than 1%, because it depends upon the balance of the pro and anti-inflammatory genes. Pro and anti-inflammatory, what is the balance between the two, it will determine, and that balance will be determined by the SNPs also. So much information is available, and we could actually find out, we can change that. Supposedly, we know that one codon is responsible for producing amino acid, which is not congenial to the body function. We can modify, if we see AGT is producing a good amino acid, okay, and we have ATG, we can change that one by CRISPR technology. We can bring back to AGT from ATG. We can bring that way, and that is how is happening in this one. And also effective cancer immunotherapy, resistant towards autoimmune diseases, and then PDA-based CAR therapy is very common now, especially in the cancer. So like that, we know that how the CRISPR-Cas technology is helping us for the human health purpose. So then we talk about precision medicine. I already talked to you. That person goes to a doctor. You say, I have a headache or some disease. Doctor gives a drug to you. You get your problem goes. And you send your friend. भाई उस डॉक्टर के पास जाओ, वो आपको ठीक कर देगा. पर वो डॉक्टर दवाई देगा आपको, तो आप ठीक नहीं होते, तो अपने फ्रेंड को कहो जी ऐसे दुश्मनी निकाली मेरे से. But that's not the case, because he has given you drug as per his own experience. Statistical database से उसने कहा कि ये अच्छा है, but it doesn't work. It's not doctor's fault, it's a fault of your own genome. वो कहते हैं ना डॉक्टर के आजकल जो पहले शादी होती थी कि पंडित जी के पास जाओ कि 32 कैरेक्टर मिलते हैं तो बहुत अच्छे है, चाहे कल को डाइवोर्स हो जाता था. पर आज शादी के लिए it's better that you keep a chip of your own DNA sequencing and let the expert matches the two, and how many matches there, how many SNPs are matching, and that may keep the marriage going for a long time. And that is what we call the precision medicine. That we have to give a medicine on the basis of your genome. Doctor will have to see that what is it, your genome sequence. And now people have already worked out on some lung cancer and even a prostate cancer. Some precision things have come up. I won't take some time is there. We'll talk about that. It's a long history of that. So omics technology is basically, omics mean genomics, proteomics, transcriptomics, metabolomics, and ultimately phenomics. Okay, so reactive, then preventive, and also predictive. Then we got biomanufacturing. See, you synthesize things in factory, but they are not useful at such, maybe temporary cure. But if you use the biological material, they may help you for long-term cure or a permanent cure. So a type of manufacture utilizes biological system to produce important biomaterials and biomolecules. So time to merge various fields, including omics, CRISPR, gene sequencing, etc., for enhanced production of biopharmaceuticals, peptides, proteins, vaccines, and antibodies, because you are able to create artificially in a test tube the total metabolic system, or even cell can be created. DNA can be created in a test. It is possible because you have to just mix up the certain components and you'll get that way. So maximize the yield, scale out, reduce cost, regional availability, perfusion culture versus fat bed, cell engineering, bacteria, animal cell, plant cell, but they have talked to you in the long term. They've talked to all these technologies. I'm just summarizing what these are. Then embryonic chicken egg, etc., in silico modeling. Then manufacturing models, automatic closed system, high fidelity data, and data security. And today, very important for cancer is organoids. You create artificial cancer in an organite manner, just an organoid, and then you treat and follow that one. So we have a living foundries with us. You don't have to go to company. That is programmable microbes, animal cells. We produce monoclonal antibodies. We know that. And right from 1981 to show, they have revolutionized the total system. And probably now the answer to most of diseases is a monoclonal antibody, because these antibiotics themselves are creating problem now. Many of the antibiotics are responsible for causing newer diseases. Instead of treating, they may give a temporary treatment, but the cell may become resistant to that, and resistant to my antibiotics has created havoc now. Today, what we are thinking that immunological system may help us. For example, you take a cancer cell and you take the surface antigen of that one, produce antibody, monoclonal antibody, join a drug with that one, it will be targeted. We also call it targeted therapy in that case. Then organoids, I've already talked to you. See, organoids are in vitro derived 3D aggregates from primary tissues or stem cells, and enhanced production of biopharmaceutical proteins, peptides, vaccines, and antibodies can be done in these organoids. Then we have cyborgs. See, here come a combination. Computational sciences, biological sciences, chemical sciences, everything. There's the genetic engineering, stem cell, artificial blood and skin has been already produced. Then soft robots, actual endoskeletons, intelligent processes, then cognitive training, here comes the psychology. Let's say virtual reality, neural stimulation, cognitive enhancement, and neural aids, basic computer interface, tissue engineering, and neural technology, because today we are much more concerned about the neural technologies, and because the incidence of the nervous disease increasing, and all these are leading us to what? Human enhancement. You have an artificial skin. If you don't, your skin gets burnt, you can put it over there. Even you can have a trachea, or even people are trying to have kidney or that one. Liver is being also produced. In India itself, the corneal transplantation has occurred in large number in Hyderabad. So cyborg insects have been produced. What they are? In the future, we may have remote controlled insects to reach places a human cannot. इंसेक्ट्स को वहां भेज सकते हैं जहां आदमी नहीं जा सकता, कि वहां के वातावरण की पहचान करो, क्या उसका यूजफुल होगी, so that human can try later on that way. Cyber cockroach can help find the survivors of earthquake. Bees can sniff of explosives. Cyber beetles will soon be used search and rescue operations. And human enhancement. All these technologies are helping us to enhance the human power, human intellect, that is physiological, cognitive, computational, robotics, and automation. That's what we call human enhancement by using these emerging technology, making people better or making better people. You have to decide. So we have an eDermis, perception of touch and pain through arrays of sensors. We have an exoskeleton, very enhanced load carriage, improved endurance and safety. We have 3D printers parts using living tissue to repair the body. You see, we have a stem cells. Now we can choose those stem cells and make them a precursor organ cells, put them a data on the computer in separate tubes. These are there. Give a direction, you will get an organ on the other side. As we have, we give a command to the computer, you get any type of printing over there. Similarly, we can have 3D printing. The organ manufacturing machines, China has already developed that one. So BCI used to read the thoughts of locked-in syndrome patients, what we call brain-computer interface. So similarly, RFID chips. You know what are the RFID chips? कहाँ पे सुना आपने? Libraries में. Libraries में खास तौर पे चिप लगी होती है, किताब बाहर नहीं निकाल सकते. So these are helping us in human enhancement, monitor position, presence, or movement of product, people, and animal. Smart drugs, modified mood enhancer, amphetamine, stay alert and focused. Then augmented vision, AMD firefighter, soldier, and smart contact lens, track glaucoma progression, record video. So what we have the endo structures, we have the exo structures, which have enhanced the human body. For example, head-up display for 360 vision. आप जो कार में खरीदते हो आजकल, क्या देखते हो? क्या उसके जो है कैमरे की जो 360 है कि नहीं, तो वो बायोलॉजिकल भी प्रोड्यूस होती है. Then prosthetics for the brain, insertion of electrodes, helmet with the BCI technology, biosensors, armor with soft robotic suits, ultra light fiber enhanced combat boots. And DRDO is already producing last one, and as well the armor robotics. They are already producing DRDO. There are specific labs over there which are doing, because I happen to be part of that committee, and I know they are doing that way. So we have so many things. I'm not going to talk about that which we have the artificial subplane, then multi-joint soft exhaust, non-invasive things. But let me tell you, here comes one thing. Most of the things are biomimicking. Most of the things are biomimicking. So whatever is already available in one organism is being changed in the other organism, either getting the idea from the architecture or at the gene level also. As it from the needles have been developed, the thin needles from porcupine here. Can you imagine that? And even a mosquito body parts have helped us in that one. So biomimicking is very important today, that you need watch the nature. From the nature, you will get some question and you can find an answer and follow that in your lab to be applicable to human being. So living human cyborgs, Neil Harbison and bionic arm, he got it, that one. So we had another Neil. So today's fiction, tomorrow's reality. It's going to be there. What we never thought of, it's happening. कुछ चीजें सिर्फ fiction में पढ़ी जाती थी. Everything is possible today in reality. You can move around. In the 80s, when I was in America, I saw a movie that somebody entering another person's body and traveling in the bloodstream, going through the various organs, giving us the picture of that one. But today, you have molecules which will travel to that one, and you can watch the movement. For example, drugs, where the drug is going, where it's getting metabolized, where it's getting degraded, how it works. So you can all follow that one. What was a dream or a fiction in 80s is a truth now. You can look anything inside the body of the human being and see its function. So we are thinking of superhuman, and it's quite possible that he may be there. Although many ethical questions are involved in that. I'm not going into details of that one. So we have a neural lace. Will there be a neural lace in your future? Brain-computer interface, brain-machine interface, and we know what artificial intelligence and machine learning are doing, and there is a interaction of that one. Techniques to enable direct communication between the brain and computer machines without using your arms over there. Then BCI based on sensory motor signal, pick up signals from pre and post central gyruses. So future challenges. अभी इशारा आया था उस हिसाब से तो read that here. Oh, sorry. How to provide novel biologicals. What are novel biological? High quality, reduced cost, and less time, because we are very impatient. What is the difference between university and industry? University had been working patiently, with patience. Hoga. Industry said no, is impatience. Now we have a middle line that we have to be sort of impatient, not like the exact industry, not like the academics. We need some answers. That's why we call emerging technologies, which may make an amalgamation of industry and the universities or institute, but definitely you cannot get the answer alone. If you look at it, emerging technology, can a single person do? For ordinary chip, you want to study a total physiology of the body. Instead of giving injection to body and testing what happens, now what they create on a chip, liver, intestine, kidney, everything is created. And the drug is injected and it works through microfluidics. And it works through robotics. And artificial intelligence gives the information. How to think, you can store that one. So another important thing, databases. If we are successful in producing vaccines in a year, less than a year, it's because of presence of databases and the computational science, what we have with the advanced knowledge of human physiology, human immune system, and all those things. So the day is not far off when we will be going for the precision. See, the basic principle is the miniaturization and precision. Space हमारे पास नहीं है और ज्यादा घेर तो उसमें गंदगी भी होगी, कॉमन मिट्टी भी होगी, हैंडल करना मुश्किल होगा. But if there is a miniaturized things and is precise as we have a mobile today. See, when we started use of mobile, they were very big, or a computer. Now you have everything on a mobile, your computer, everything is there. So that's what the precision is there. And that is possible because of collaboration, because of institute dialogue, inter-subject dialogue. So boundaries have gone. That's what we talked in the last academic council of this university, that we must have some institute of emerging areas, wherein we can talk about the artificial intelligence, we can talk about the cyborgs, we can talk anything what is coming up with the, or it can be a futurology, institute of futurology, that what is going to happen in future for solving problems what we have, whether in health, agriculture, or in the environment, because all the three work together. And if we want to have a zero hunger, we want to have a clean environment, and we want to have healthy individuals, we have to join together. And it's you people can do it, because you are the budding scientist. That is why the DST had started such workshops. And there's another program, what is Karyashala, parallel. One is through institute, another is by the institute itself. So we talked to Dr. Puri about that Karyashala also, that how we can empower the youth in the new areas, new science, both theoretically and practically, so that you can be achievers in the times to come. See, if a person can get in a very short time, respectively got a Nobel Prize just in 2 years after it, so then why can't you people get it? Atulji told on that day, he's a visionary, and we have his brother over here, he's another visionary over here, and the command comes from, the thoughts come from their father, Dr. Khosla, who is always thinking, and these are following that thoughts and making that emerging. Make those thoughts emerging, original, and then emerging in a new direction. Thank you, Ashishji, for coming over here. Thank you. Any question, please?
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful and insightful session. And let's put our hand together for Professor Ashish Khosla, sir, President, Marketing and Innovation, Director of Yogananda School of AI and Computer Sciences. Welcome, sir. So your talk is scheduled like after. Thank you so much, sir. So. Yes, sir. Over to you, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure. Welcome, sir.
That's so nice. So good afternoon, everyone. Second. So today we will talk about artificial intelligence and biotechnology. Or, wherever I go these days, to any industry, any company, even when I went to drop my daughter to a college, people were saying, if you can get a combination of these two things, one is science and biology and biotechnology, and if you can have somebody who understands statistics and computer engineering and artificial intelligence, that person can do anything these days. Because, just like a few years back, there were two superpowers in the world. What were the superpowers? US and Russia. Maybe these days US and China, I hope not, but US and Russia definitely. These days, the superpowers have transcended the boundaries of nations, and the superpowers today are artificial intelligence and biotechnology. And believe me, that's true. More and more, anybody who can quote unquote crack the combination of these two will be a genuine superpower. In fact, Dr. Sopti was talking about biomimicry. Yeah. So I've been working in the field of computer science and in looking at it from a banking perspective for many years. Or when we were doing engineering in 1986 and 1990, People used to tell us, artificial intelligence aa rahi hai. So we started in 86 and 1990 happened. There was no artificial intelligence. After that, I studied more. People used to say AI is coming. Didn't come in at all. I started working in a bank and people said, you know, hacking will become very easy and fraud control will become very easy because artificial intelligence is about to come in. That was 92, 94. I became a VP 2000. No artificial intelligence happened, right? And then people started saying, yeah, this artificial intelligence will never come, right? We've been talking about it for the last 30 years. 1968, there was a conference in Michigan, US, where they defined the fundamentals of artificial intelligence. And in 2002, people said it's been like 35 years. No artificial intelligence is going to come in. And then two very interesting things happened. One is biomimicry. They said, let us do something called the neural network. And we'll talk about that. Ki jaise human beings ka mind chalta hai, that's called neural network. Let's form neural networks. And secondly, chips became faster because of gaming technology called GPUs. I'm sure any of you guys like playing games. Graphic processing units. So kya hai ki kids started playing games. To play games, you need fast machines. And they formed a new thing called GPU. Then one day, somebody in the lab, while playing a game, said, let me try using artificial intelligence neural networks on my gaming computer. And he said, "Arey, ye to chal pada." Right? And that is when artificial intelligence really came up and became a big science, art, technology by itself. So today, I know of all of you are aware of biotechnology. I will focus more on telling you what is artificial intelligence, because I think that is what you need to take from my lecture. Which is all the well because Dr. Sopti covered some uses of technology and the future of technology so well in terms of biotechnology. You know, so this is very simple. What is AI? And AI is basically when a machine and a computer can think and do what a human being can. That is AI, right? A lot of confusion around that, and we'll go around that. We'll not go around that. But essentially, when a machine can do or think what a human being can do, that is AI, right? But then why do we need machines to do it? Hamare paas 11 billion human beings hain. Why do you need a machine to do it? Because a machine, once it can do what a human being can do, it can do it so much faster, right? And we'll talk about that in an example where we're talking about how AI is used to decipher Alzheimer's diseases. Right? A machine can do it so faster. We've seen that, right? We type 4 plus 4 in a calculator or 4 raised to power 4 in a calculator and bingo, it gives us the answer, right? Which is 256, but you know, even more complicated answers give us very, very fast, right? So at a click of a button, you can do these calculations very fast. So that's what AI is when a machine can do what a human being can do. And who needs to know about AI? And I just put it here. Number one, if you notice, and that's number one application of AI is in medicine. Yeah. And then you have graphic artists. By the way, the other day we were in a museum in San Francisco. That's around 8-9 months back. A painting thi. The painting cost was $180,000. And then somebody said, "Ye pata hai kisne banai hai?" A 19-year-old kid has made this painting with the help of machine learning, which is AI. So that is how graphic artists are using this. Psychologists are using a lot of AI to decipher personalities of human beings. So there are psychologists who make you do a test, evaluate and follow your emails and follow you for a week to 2 weeks and figure out what's your personality. Historians are using it. They say those who repeat history are bound to repeat it. So historians have put in a huge amount of data on AI. Ki dictators ko kya karna chahiye ya nahi karna chahiye. Rulers ko kya karna chahiye ya nahi karna chahiye. And of course, teaching. Have you heard of something called GPT-3? Well, if you haven't, you learn it because GPT-3 can do your homework, it can do your classwork, it can do everything for you. And I've tried it. In fact, I gave it to I gave a demo to our head of English literature, who's a novelist, and she was surprised. Usne 3 pages likh diye uske liye, right? So GPT-3 is what they've done is they've put in billions of lines into the computer. And the computer is now able to write lines back, right, on its own. And the scientists have found that computers are able to figure out कि क्या हो रहा है, what kind of words are being used. So for example, you may have heard of a Google scientist these days. He was fired. Do you know why he was fired? He was working with the computer and he said, मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है ये दूसरी तरफ आदमी है. A computer is sentient, right? And Google said, no, you can't. You shouldn't have said that, and you're digging out information, and this is not true. But the truth is, when you speak to some computers at the other side, it looks as if the computer is sentient. I'll give an example. We were working the other day with a large amount of data, and we said table and chair. Okay, the computer was able to make out table and chair का मतलब दो एक दूसरे जैसी चीजें हैं, right? It doesn't know what a table is, it doesn't know what a chair is, but broadly knows उसको जहाँ पे table रखो वहाँ पे chair की जरूरत है, ठीक है? Then another example came up with computer science and table, right? Guess what the computer did? It figured out कि ये वो वाली table नहीं है, this is some other table, and it started showing graphs to us, right? So this is a level of intelligence. Of course, the computer is working on a huge amount of data. So it is saying that ये तो पहले नहीं आया, computer science and table या planet or table पहले नहीं आया, ये कोई और चीज होगी. And then it started throwing other things to us. So it was able to figure out the meaning of the word, even though a table could be a graph or it could be a kursi, right? So that is what tells us that in a few years, computer science will come closer and closer to sentience. But moving on, with due respect to you, Dr. Sopti, our concept of AI is called general AI. And, typically what we do is we see these movies and we say, a human being can take over the world, an AI can take over the world. That's general AI. It's a robot, and a robot can do things exactly like a human being can do. But the problem is the human mind, for example, Dr. Saurabh, Dr. Sopti, how many neurons do we have, sir? Ma'am? We have trillions of neurons, right? And each neuron can have so many other connections, right? So you have multiple of trillions of connections in the human mind. That makes it complicated. And you guys are all biology students. You know that we do not fully understand the whole functioning of the human mind itself. To replicate that in a computer is very difficult, which is why you do not have currently general purpose AI. What you have instead of, so general purpose AI is, अगर आपने movie देखी होगी, Terminator, yeah, तो उसमें there is an AI which looks like a robot, comes and tries to kill everyone and all that, right? That is general purpose AI. It can do whatever human beings can. It looks like a human being in every aspect. It can think, it can jump, it can run, it can drive a car, right? It can play a video game, it can shoot someone, right? It can do all that. That is general purpose AI. General purpose AI is 20 years away, which is basically for your children, I guess, right? Right now, we do what is called special purpose AI. Special purpose AI means the AI can only do one thing. That's about it, right? So it can play a game. It can do speech to text. So if you've seen Siri, right? You say, hello, Siri, do something. It does speech to text and tries to understand what you say. If you come to me to Dubai, one day I was in Dubai. In fact, I've come over from the UAE. I was there for 16 years. One day we went to this road in Dubai, which is a new road. And suddenly my wife clutched my arm. I said, kya hua? She said, Ashish, dekho. Matlab, she was afraid or she was alarmed because there was no driver there. They're suddenly sitting at the back. That's driverless cars. Driverless cars are no longer fiction. They're there. बाद में उसके बाद हम San Francisco गए, वहां तो आम ही चल रही थी. At least we saw 8-9 driverless cars. In fact, I got a video. I sat inside a driverless car. I got the video to show my students. So these are very common. The point is the driverless car will not be able to do what Siri does, right? It cannot do what Google does every day. It can't do a web search. So this is special purpose AI. The other special purpose AI that I think you guys at some point of time should be able to focus on is medicine and biotechnology. It should just be able to do medicine and biotechnology, identify the kind of problems they're trying to solve, and go ahead with that. Okay, very quickly, I just thought to give you an example. I thought, let's take some examples of what AI can do. And gaming is something which is very close to the younger generation. So I thought I'll give you a very quick example. When I was a kid, there were many games. One of them is chess. We'll talk about that. But Jeopardy, so chess, Gary Kasparov was defeated by DeepMind in 1998. We'll talk about that later on. Chess, I thought human beings would always win, but 1998 ke baad, gone. Then there's a game called Jeopardy, which is an old game, and it involves a bit of luck and many more combinations than chess. But computers defeated the human world champion in 2011. All the video games were defeated by AI in 2015. Atari Games is the most popular video game maker. Everything was defeated, whether it is skill, whether it's intuition, whether it is thinking, everything was won over by Atari. Then there is a game called AlphaGo. And the Chinese are very proud of that. It is the Chinese variant of chess. And it's a game that again uses both logic and chance. And people said, okay, computers have defeated Kasparov in chess, but AlphaGo, it belongs to the Chinese people and it's a very complicated thing. But in 2016, the AlphaGo world champion, a Hong Kong-based citizen, was defeated by AI. And lastly, poker khela kisne? Poker is a game of chance, right? It is chance, like 80% chance and 20% skill. And people said, how can a computer consistently beat human beings on something that is a mix of chance and skill? Welcome Atul, welcome Dr. Khosla, please join us. Okay. So how can a computer beat somebody in something that is a mix of chance and skill? But 2017, and there is CMU. CMU is the Carnegie Mellon University. That's a university in the US. They made an AI program called Liberatus, and it consistently has defeated the world's top poker players because what 20% of skill is good enough for them to beat human players. So that is what an example of how AI has been more successful than human beings by just focusing on one area, which is games. Yeah, and I would like to take this example again. This is Gary Kasparov versus Deep Blue in 1997. By the way, 1996 mein Gary Kasparov played against Deep Blue and he won. And I read the news. I said, of course, yaar, matlab, humko sabko pata hai Gary Kasparov kaun hai? He's the world champion for the last 9 years. People say he's got the highest ranking ever in chess. How can a computer play against him? But this is Gary Kasparov in 1997. Us din ke baad, you will never see any player, Vishwanathan Anand, Gary Kasparov, Magnus Carlsen, playing against computers. Unko pata hai, the special purpose computers are much better than that. Yeah, I'll give you an example of myself playing computers. By the way, I was also the small college, PC बहुत छोटा सा college था, 1000 बच्चे थे. I was a chess champion. ठीक है, बहुत साल नहीं खेला, उसके बाद मैंने chess खेलना शुरू कर दिया. I started doing well. Then somebody said, start playing against computers. What happened? I started losing. I started putting the level of the computer down. कोई तो होगा computer. I would lose, right? फिर मैंने लगा किसी को मैंने बुलाया, do the maths for me. Why am I losing? So let me give you an example. ये मेरी game है. This is AK 1969 is me. Now I can move in 25 possible ways, right? Now the computer can also move in 25 ways, right? तो मेरे को 25 moves में से एक सोचनी और फिर कंप्यूटर को भी 25 moves में से एक सोचनी, right? But what happens if I have to move? Think 10 moves ahead. कि 10 चालों के बाद क्या होगा यार, right? What if I have to think of 25 moves ahead? 25 चालों के बाद क्या होगा भाई, right? Do you know how much moves I will have to think of if I have to think 10 moves ahead? Yes. Lakhs. What's your name? Cindy, lakhs. Good answer. Anybody else? Cindy says lakhs. Lakhs होता Kasparov ने कर लेना था यार, वो बहुत तेज सोचता है. Kasparov का दिमाग चाचा चौधरी से भी तेज चलता है, right? But let me tell you, to do 10 moves, you have to do, ये जो ग्रे में लिखा है वो है billion, 95 billion thoughts. Okay, 10 raised power 10. 95 billion moves you have to think of. Okay, that's huge. Okay, by the way, जब 10 moves चल रहे थे तो Kasparov जीत रहा था. That's the funny part. Okay, I lose at 3, 4, 5, 6 moves. Kasparov was still winning at 10 moves. He started losing when 25 moves came in. अब ये देखो क्या number है. The figure in gray is billion. This is a billion. This is 881 billion. Right? This is a beyond human thinking. Human beings can't do that. Right? And that is why computers can do a particular task when they're told to do it in a certain way, much better than human beings. Right? Which is why they can do things in medicine. Once you can sit down and realize what is it that you need in medicine. Work with the statistician to figure out what kind of model is required. They will be able to come out with the answer much faster than any of us can. Okay, now, and this is something I normally do with classes, and there is a little bit of a disjoint between what computers can do, that's fiction, and what they are actually doing, which is reality. So there are these two examples, and this example was actually on the left side, there's a Google plant. I won't show you the video, but it says, talk to your tulip today. Now, you're all biologists, so both of these examples are from biology. Now, plants have roots. Roots pass on data to each other, or data inside the plant through minerals. So they absorb minerals, right? So what Google found out in the research is that plants can see minerals दूसरे plant से कहाँ जा रहे हैं, right? Based on that, they can talk to each other, right? So plants talk to each other based on the flow of minerals, right? So they've come out with a device called Talk to Your Tulip, where they will actually speak to the tulip, because by changing the amount of minerals in the soil. So more minerals in the soil, plant was happy. Less minerals in the soil, plant was sad, right? So they also try to figure out when the plant is sad, what is the plant looking like, right? So that is Google tulip. Okay, so that's one example. One of these two examples is truth. One of them is fiction. The other is a guy called Elon Musk. He said, let me do something. And he taught a chimpanzee how to play computer games, right? So chimpanzee was playing computer games. Then what he did was he put a chip inside the chimpanzee's brain, right? And he cut the connection of the computer, linking this control to the computer. And now the chimpanzee was playing the computer from his mind because the chip was being read. Okay, so there are two examples here. Google plant, where Google is looking at the amount of minerals flowing into the plant and deciding on its mood. And the other example where Elon Musk is getting a chimpanzee to play computer games from its brain, just brain. It doesn't have any connection. There's no link with the computer game and the connection, right? Which one of these two do you think is true, and which one of them is fiction? Can we have a show of hands? How many people think Google plant is true? Raise your hands. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. If there's a possibility both of them are true or none of them are true. Okay. How many of you think chimpanzee playing video games on its own with a chip is true? Raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 18. How many of you think both are true? 12. How many think both are gup? So good thing, you think something is true. So I think 19 people thought Google plant and 17 people thought chimpanzee playing computer game on its own. Now this is a very unusual example, because normally 80% of the people in my class believe Google plant is true and 20% feel chimpanzee implant is true. But actually, truth is chimpanzee implant is very true. It is in fact old science. It is 3 years ago. Okay. These days, chimpanzees can do many other things with an implant in the mind. And I think Dr. Sopti touched upon that. Okay. So what we think is fiction, right, is actually coming true. So here you put an implant in the chimpanzee. It reads the mind of the chimpanzee. It communicates to another chip in the computer game. और वो बोलता है ऊपर जा बॉल को, तो वो बॉल ऊपर चले जाती है, लेफ्ट को जा तो लेफ्ट को जाती है, whatever you need to do in the computer game. Okay, and that has been done through combining biotechnology and AI. It's a very good example of what can be done by combining biotechnology and AI, right? The reason we're doing this is people say tomorrow, and Dr. Supti talked about that, you don't need to speak to communicate. एक चिप होगा और आपको पता लगेगा मैं क्या सोच रहा हूँ, थोड़ा सा मेरे हाथ में कंट्रोल भी होगा ताकि वही चीजें पता चलें आपको, right? But you can communicate through chips in your mind. We can take the entire pool of knowledge, and that is a big, for example, Google. What does it do? It takes the entire pool of knowledge and presents it to you as a search, right? Tomorrow you'll be able to take the entire pool of knowledge of all the people in this hall, and the single person will know everything everybody else knows. So whatever knowledge you have of biotechnology, or I have of AI, or Dr. Khosla has of forest, or Dr. Sopti of biotechnology, everything each one of us will know because of this chip implant. Okay, and that will come to us before general purpose AI. Expect that in the next 10-15 years. Please. So, you know, the answer is it only picks up the relevant signals. I'm sure chimpanzees thinking of many things, right? It only takes those signals which are linked to the relevant movement of the game, right? So that is what they do. They don't pick up all the thoughts, right? Which is why I said even when we do this AI, some thoughts I'll be able to keep to myself, right? So that's what they do. So when you think in a certain pattern, there is a certain fMRI that comes out, and they will only pick up those ones. But good question. Anyway, AI and biotechnology is more for you to think, because this is a field that started only 2-3 years back. It's a very new field, but you have so many companies thinking about this: industrial biotechnology, medical biotechnology, agri and food processes. In every field that you can think of that you have biotechnology, AI is there, right? And I'll just give you one example, and I'll stop my chat after this. Is AI can predict Alzheimer's with nearly 100% accuracy. And this is something Shoolini University has also worked on, working with 8-9 universities across the world. And I'll tell you how it works. Is that, well, Alzheimer's, you know what Alzheimer's is, of course, you're all biology students, right? So when Alzheimer's happens, part of the brain neurons and synapses are damaged, right? So the whole thing is trying to figure out early damage, right? So what happens is there's something called functional magnetic resonance imaging. It is used to identify, in this case, you can see something with slightly different colored, different regions in the brains that are affected. All regions in our brain being affected does not mean anything, because everybody has some kind of effect. So a specialist is required to look at the brain image, compare it to multiple things. Typically, a specialist will take around a week to 2 weeks and multiple samples to see, is this person having early Alzheimer's or not? Okay, so you have a very high-end specialist. He takes the case of, for example, Bill Gates' father. Bill Gates bolta hai, le le yaar, $1 million. Find it out for my father. He takes 2 weeks. He tells them, oh, looks like he's okay, right? What they did with AI is there are data sets, and again, Dr. Sopti talked about data sets. So there is a neuroimaging initiative fMRI data set where they've taken a data set of 51,000 people who had Alzheimer's, and they put it there. And we already have data sets of people who don't have Alzheimer's, right? So what somebody did was they ran the whole machine learning against this 51,000 and the whole population of everybody who's okay. And they came out with a mathematical model. If this happens, then it's got Alzheimer's, right? And then what they found out is AI can find this out with 99% accuracy, right? And importantly, the AI can do 1,000 sample checks in a minute, right? And that is how AI is being used in technology, right? So you can do 1,000 sample checks in just a minute, right? So various areas, we all have heard about how COVID was discovered through AI, right? They ran the whole sequences through multiple options until they came out with the one sequence, which will have an impact on the disease, right? In early diagnosis, it's useful. In clinical trial, it's very useful because they take the whole data, right, and they run it through existing data as well and find out what medicine is useful against which kind of medicine. It's used in gene editing, personalized medicine, and also in plant genome studies. On all these areas, and you can think of more, it's just a new area that's starting. You can think of how to use AI in your field, right? Now, there are a couple of good things that I would like to end with about AI, and I think this thing stops here, is that how difficult is it to start working with AI? Right? Because AI, computer science, machine learning is very difficult. So my answer to that is it's not difficult and not at all. It is very easy. You know why? Because on the other side, there are AI scientists and computer science people who don't understand biology at all. All you have to do is to find somebody, right, and work with them. Collaboration, right? Moment you do it, you're in the game, right? So my whole purpose of this thought is to you is look around for people around you. If you have an idea, come to Shoolini University, right? And look around for people who understand computer science, AI, and they will be able to work these things with you very fast. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for a wonderful session on AI in biotechnology. And let's put our hand together for our chief guest, Honorable Chancellor, sir, Professor P.K. Khosla, and Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, Professor Atul Khosla. Welcome, sir. So now we'll be moving towards our felicitation session to felicitate our guest session experts and technical experts before we proceed towards our valedictory session. So first, I would like to request Professor R.C. Sopti, sir, and Professor Sunil Puri, sir, to felicitate Professor Ashish Khosla, sir. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. Next, I would now request our Honorable Chancellor, sir, Professor P.K. Khosla, and Vice Chancellor, sir, Professor Atul Khosla, to felicitate Padma Shri Professor R.C. Sopti, sir. Sir, please. Nahin. Thank you so much, everyone. Next, I would like to invite Professor R.C. Sopti, sir, and Professor Sunil Puri, sir, to felicitate Professor Azhar Khan, Dr. Chandresh, and Dr. Nitika. Thank you so much, sir. Dr. Chandresh. And now Dr. Nitika. Thank you so much, everyone. And next, I would like to invite Professor R.C. Sopti, sir, to felicitate Professor Sunil Puri, sir, and Professor Anuradha Surirajan, ma'am. Ma'am. Thank you, everyone. Now we'll be proceeding towards our valedictory session. So good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Faculty of Applied Sciences and Biotechnology, I extend a heartfelt welcome to all the dignitaries. A special welcome to our chief guest, Honorable Chancellor, Sir, Professor P.K. Khosla, presided by our very special guest, Professor Ashish Khosla, Sir, President, Marketing and Innovation and Director of Yogananda School of Artificial Intelligence and Computer Sciences, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Atal Khosla, and all the dignitaries, respected deans and directors, faculty, staff, and my lovely participants. I welcome you all to the closing ceremony of this beautiful journey of DST STUTI, 1 week insights and hands-on training on techniques in biotechnology, scheduled from 21st to 27th July 2022, under the aegis of synergistic training program, utilizing the scientific and technological infrastructure. The training program is a joint initiative of Shoolini University in collaboration with the Central Instrumentation Lab, Punjab University, Chandigarh. This program stands out as a unique program in terms of opportunities provided to the students to interact with the best experts, scientists, and professors, and to grab immense knowledge about the new techniques via hand-on training and laboratory sessions. In addition, the program emphasized on collaboration, which stands as an imperative solution for the growth of individuals, society, and the nation through mission connect, mission synergy, and mission outcome. And this is to achieve the unmatched growth and development and make our country proud. So before we proceed towards our valedictory session, as a beautiful tradition followed in Shoolini, I would like to request all our dignitaries to please light the lamp and seek the blessings of Ma Saraswati. Thank you so much, everyone. I would now request our dignitaries to please take their respective seats on the dais, please. Thank you so much, everyone. Next, I would like to request Professor Anuradha Sorirarajan, Dean, Faculty of Applied Sciences and Biotechnology, to kindly read the conference report. Over to you, ma'am.
Honorable Chief Guest of the Day, Honorable Chancellor, Professor P.K. Khosla. Ma'am Saroj Khosla is not here. I would still like to welcome her. Padma Shri, Professor R.C. Sopti. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Shoolini University, Professor Atul Khosla. Our presiding guest of the valedictory event, Professor Ashish Khosla. Professor Sunil Puri, Registrar cum Dean Academics. Deans, Directors, Faculty Members, Staff, and our DST STUTI participants, and all our PhD scholars who have supported this event. It gives me immense pleasure today to congratulate one and all for the successful conduct of the 7-day DST STUTI workshop. And I hope the participants had a memorable experience of learning as well as fun time in their hostels and during the excursion. Now I'm here to present the 7-day report to give you a brief summary of every day's report, how the events went on. Firstly, the overview of the participants who have come into this program. So we had total of 34 participants who have come from 8 different states. So it's a big privilege for us. Thank you all. So this includes Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, and the Chandigarh region. So we have different ratios of the participants over here. And again, really, we are thankful to all of you to join this program. So we started the DST STUTI training program on biotechnology from day 1, that is 21st July. The workshop started with the inaugural ceremony, wherein we had address by several dignitaries. The welcome address was given by the Dean, Faculty of Biotechnology. And this DST STUTI overview was given by Professor Gangaram Chaudhary, who is the STUTI in charge from Punjab University, and he's also director of SAAF and CIL, Punjab University. Then we had a welcome address by our Honorable Chancellor, Professor P.K. Khosla, and a welcome address by our President, Foundation, Saroj Khosla ma'am. And Professor Atul Khosla, Vice Chancellor, Shoolini University, also gave his welcome address and encouraged the students to promote innovation in their research and also to see how we can use the in physical facilities, instrumental facilities between institutes. Can we share and make more resources out of these facilities? Then we had the plenary lecture by Professor P.K. Seth, who is a Nasi honorary scientist and former director of IITR Lucknow. So he gave a talk on biotechnological techniques transforming human lives and economy. This was followed by Vivek Athri sir's address, who's former IAS officer. So he again tried to emphasize on the role of collaboration in research. And this is followed by Professor R.C. Sopti's address, wherein Sir actually emphasized that collaboration, research, and everything is all innovation is already there in our Indian history, and we need to tap on these resources and bring it to the global level. This was followed by the chief guest address by Shri Karan Avtar Singh ji. So he again emphasized on research, collaboration, how you can do interplay between science and management. And he came up with very beautiful thoughts about science, although he was not a person from science, but it was a very innovative and informative lecture. This was followed by visit by the participants to the Shoolini University, different facilities, and they also went for a tree plantation. So if you all come back after a few years, you'll see your own tree. You'll have labels put up for those plants. And they went for a campus visit, followed by the introduction to the training program. This was provided by Dr. Vihang and Dr. Lokendra from Biotechnology. So the day 1, they all settled in. Then the day 2 started the next day in the morning with the expert lecture by our own expert, Professor Mr. Vishal Anand, who is trustee and co-founder Shoolini University. And he's also running a new venture, which is called RNA Wax Bio, for which he's a CEO. So his idea was to bring India into the forefront. So he gave a talk on India, the future life sciences factory of the world. So he actually described the mRNA vaccines initiative of RNA Wax Bio, and they've already seen success, and we hope to see mRNA vaccines soon coming from RNA Wax Bio. This was followed by a technical talk by Dr. Lokendra from Biotechnology. So he spoke about PCR and agarose gel electrophoresis, following which the participants went for their lab session. They started their 7-day training program. And initially they did the PCR reaction to amplify the GFP gene. I hope all of you know now what is GFP, green fluorescent protein. So then they did the preparation for the next day to do the experimental work. Day 3, we entered with the session expert talk by Dr. Sunil Babu, who came from BBAU Lucknow. So he spoke on a new area of molecular biology, which we call microRNAs. These are small pieces of RNA, which have a huge role in diseases regulation and also in immunology. So this is the area which he spoke about. And then we had a technical talk by Professor Saurabh Kulshrestha, Dean Research and Development. So he spoke about DNA purification, plasmid isolation, and gel extraction. And after this, the participants went for their lab session and they analyzed the PCR product, following which they did the isolation of the plasmid. So I think they had a very good time over here to do the plasmid isolation, and they did the preparations for the next day. Now we reached midway of the event, and day 4, we started the day with the expert lecture by Dr. Naren Chirmule, who's former R&D director of Biocon and CEO of SymphonyTech Biologics. So he spoke about the story of developing a vaccine. So it is correlating very much to the present day COVID pandemic and monkeypox coming up and all. So his talk was focused on development of a vaccine, lessons from the attempts for an AIDS vaccine. So he spoke about the HIV vaccine and how the failures actually lead to the success. So that was his emphasis. And then we moved to the technical talk. This was delivered by Professor Dinesh Kumar, Head School of Bioengineering and Food Technology and Dean Postgraduate Studies. So he gave his talk on technical aspects of restriction digestion of a vector and insert and transformation of the cells. So again, this gave them more insight so that participants could do the next day experiments. So in terms of the lab performance, on day 4, the participants purified the PCR products and they set up restriction digestion reactions so that they can do the ligation in the next day. Day 5 started with the expert lecture by Professor Anand Bachawat from IISER Mohali. He spoke on synthetic biology, a new area which is upcoming in the area of biotechnology. We can produce any kind of drugs, any kind of metabolites we want by engineering the microbes like yeast, bacteria, and now it's coming up to humans. So he also spoke about his lab's venture towards production of a system towards screening metabolites and chemicals for SARS-CoV-2 detection. Then we had a technical talk by Dr. Vihan, assistant professor from biotechnology. So he gave his technical talk on DNA ligation. How do you paste a vector and the insert? And he also spoke about some modern technologies which have come, which can be now replacing the old traditional technologies. Now, during the lab session, the participants analyzed their DNA products on agarose gel, and they set up the ligation reaction. It's a cut and paste reaction. Take the cut vector, take the cut insert, and paste them. So you just give an enzyme, and you did the ligation reaction over there. And on day 5, the participants also had an evening excursion to Solan and Jatoli temple. Then we move into day 6. Day 6 started with an expert session by Professor Inderjit Singh Dua, who's a former chairperson of the Department of Botany, Punjab University, and an advisor to Shoolini University. So he gave a very mesmerizing talk on this day on human evolution to biotechnology. So he caught the attention of participants, and it was a very exciting talk. This was followed by a technical talk by Professor Kamal Dev, Director IPR and Professor Biotechnology. So he gave his technical talk on screening of the transformants. Once you get the transformants, how do you identify which is the right one? So he spoke about blue-white selection. He spoke about colony PCR and other techniques which you can be using for screening the transformants. And following this, the participants had an excursion to Kasoli. Again, they enjoyed this Kasoli trip. So that is the feedback from the participants. Now coming to the last day, which is today. So morning we had a technical talk from our teachers, Professor Azhar, Dr. Chandresh and Dr. Nitika on animal and plant cell culture. So they were given a technical talk followed by a session in the labs. So the participants visited the plant tissue culture lab as well as animal cell culture lab. They had a good experience of how these cells are cultured, following which we had an expert talk by Padam Shri Professor R.C. Sopti. So he has given an excellent talk taking you to the latest era and what is next, emerging technologies in biotechnology, talking about gut microbiome, role of these microbiomes in disease implication and disease pathology. And he also talked about CRISPR, precision medicine, and finally, how do we develop novel biologics? So he ended with the talk over there. And we also had the presiding talk in the same session by Professor Ashish Khosla, who spoke about role of AI in biotechnology. And yes, sir, with your support, we hope to see more and more of collaborations between biotech and AI, which will bring up new interventions and innovations. So overall, the 7-day program was a successful endeavor, and we hope that the participants really were able to get a feel of what is molecular biology, what is cloning. You go back and train your students further, and that is the vision of the DST STUTI program. So with this, I again thank you all for participating in this program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I would request Padma Shri Professor R.C. Sopti, sir, to kindly share his views about DST STUTI training program. Please, sir.
Chancellor Dr. P.K. Khosla, Vice Chancellor Atul Khosla, the Director and Dean Ashish Khosla ji, Registrar Dr. Puri, Coordinator Program Anuradha ji. I was just hearing about the proceedings of this very workshop. In the beginning, we were little nervous that we'll be able to do all these things. But hats off to the organizing committee under the leadership of Dr. Khosla and other Khoslas, 3 Khosla trios, that it has been a wonderful program in 7 days. कहते हैं कि गागर में सागर, इन्होंने आपको सिंपल डीएनए से लेके म्यूटेंट आइडेंटिफिकेशन तक बता दिया और लेक्चर में they have told you mRNA and synthetic biology, because today the future is synthetic biology. As I showed you a slide, synthetic biology is not only simple biology or life, it's full of all the mechanics, as I told you about the cell, because cell is a treasury of whole education. Cell represents the holistic education. You name any area, it is there. And second is your body itself also is a complete education. चाहे आपको जो cell adhesion है, there's a society. If society is integrated, it works well, it progresses. हम तो हाथ की एग्जांपल देते हैं, but अगर आप 2 सेल भी देखोगे, if 2 cells, they lose the connection, there's no communication, desmosomes are destroyed. What will happen? The cell will become antisocial. And when antisocial is there, it may become a tumorous. That's what happened. अगर family में family network टूट जाए तो कई बच्चे जो हैं वो गलत राह पे पड़ जाते हैं. They become tumorous. Because what is a tumor cell? Which want to grow itself in such a way without caring of its host. उसकी खाना भी खा लेगा, सारा कुछ ले लेगा वो, and it will grow at the expense of his own family, that is our own body. The same way, the person when he gets estate, it does that way. So we have a beautiful system of education if you study the total body, that's why we told you that now we are going from body to molecule. And from molecule, we are understanding how it is performing the holistic system, and then it transfers to the tissue, organ, then to the body. So that's what beautiful system is there. And this what we call synthetic biology tells us, and that is combined. How can we know that? Ashish ji rightly told that the backbone today is an artificial intelligence. You cannot perform so many experiments. You want to know the production of so many proteins. Can you carry out that one? You cannot. You want to study the metabolism of a person, you need to study all the genes or the expression of all the genes. It's next to impossible. Only जो हमारा genomic वाला ज्योतिषी है, वो predict करेगा कंप्यूटर पे, भाई ये combination हो जाएगा तो ये होगा, ये combination तो ये होगा. So that's programming is wonderful now, and that's what Dr. Anuradha has done by arranging lectures and ending up in a crux that the use of artificial intelligence and biotechnology. Without that lecture, we would have been not complete. So thank you, Radhaji. Thank you, Gigi, for giving us the insight how artificial intelligence is an integral part of today's and futuristic biology. What we talk today, futurology. And how can we talk about futurology? Only by the computational biology, of which artificial intelligence and machine learning and robotic are the integral part. Thank you very much, Anadaji, for arranging this. My thanks to Director RSCC Punjab University, because I just carried a letter from Registrar Sahab. Casually, I talked to the Vice Chancellor and Chancellor. Would you like to hold this? Just on a telephone. Why not? When I came, Dr. Registrar Sahab got the letter signed from the Vice Chancellor. He is so capable and imaginative. He didn't read the letter, but he could dream of what is written in that one. He signed it. I took the registrar to the director, gave him, he also agreed. In fact, he also wanted, somehow he knew that I am associated with Dr. Khosla. He knew about our friendship, and he said, there was a valedictory function of a zoology STUTI. He had called me as a chief guest. उसके कमरे में बैठे थे, पानी पी रहे थे, तो कहने लगा, आप शूलनी में क्यों नहीं करवा लेते? From there itself, I called Dr. Khosla, and he said yes, and that's how it matured. जो कुछ होना होता है, वो होके रहता है, और अगर वो अच्छे उसका जो समाप्ति है, अच्छा हो, लर्निंग हो, तो उससे आपको सबको, आपको तो हो गई, हमें सेटिस्फेक्शन है. So you are ambassador of the beautiful campus, beautiful university, that is Shoolini University, जिसके ऊपर Goddess Shoolini का हाथ है. That is how they are progressing leap and bound, and I wish all you success. Go back to your institutes, go back to your states, like our ambassadors, and convey how beautiful and progressive this university is from all aspects, whether it's infrastructure, academic, hospitality, everything is available to you. And in the days to come, we will progress quite a bit to be updated in all these spheres. Thank you very much, Dr. Khosla, for agreeing to hold this workshop with a backbone, the registrar, Dr. Puri, who is always smiling and accepting. In fact, मैंने कहा इनको कहा एक दिन, just 1 minute, कि पुरी साहब, तो आप क्या कहते हो? मैं एक दिन में आता हूँ, आप सिर्फ महीने में 4 दिन कहते हैं, अगर 4 दिन से ज्यादा आओगे फिर तो हम गए. कहते एक हफ्ते का इतना काम दे जाते हो, होमवर्क दे जाते हो. See, we feel pleasure in talking to you and carrying out this such activity because we are here to serve this society. And if you do not serve this society, the life is useless. Thank you very much.
थैंक यू सो मच सर. आपने बहुत खूब फरमाया कि गागर में सागर. सो आई थिंक सबकी गागर ज्ञान के सागर से फिल हो गई होगी इस ट्रेनिंग के दौरान. सो थैंक यू सो मच सर. Now I would request Professor Atul Khosla sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, to kindly share his perspectives and views regarding DST STUTI program.
Thank you, Nitika. I was not prepared for this. Sir, you're a distinguished professor. So anyway, thank you. I think thank you all participants for coming all the way. Some of you have come all the way from South India, as far as Bangalore, Kerala, Karnataka. So welcome, and hopefully you're going back with sweet memories of Himachal and sweet memories of North India. I would just like to say three things to all of you. I would encourage all of you to go back, or even today, write down the three things that you learned. Don't make it complex. Don't write 100 things. Write three things that you learned from your 7 days. In fact, three things might be also too many. First, write the one thing you learned and then the other two. I've been through many, many events in my life, like some of you have, many seminars. And I always say that if there is one change I can have in myself, even one thing, then those 6 or 7 days were worth the effort. So hopefully there will be 2 or 3 things that you learned. Those could be related to biotechnology. Those could be related to the environment. Those things could be related to some good things that Shoolini does. So I think that's the first message I'd like to give. I think the second thing which I'd like to mention, which I strongly believe in, and I've seen that with Dr. Khosla, Dr. Sopti, and others, is the power of collaboration. So some people were, I was sitting over there, some girls were whispering amongst themselves, collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. Life is about collaboration and life is about networking. So the 30 of you are friends, and the 30 of you will, in 20 years, and you can't imagine this right now, but 20 years down the line, all 30 of you will be sitting on this row. So imagine the power of this network. When there will be 30 vice chancellors across India, and you have a problem when you're in the chair and you don't know how to solve it, when you'll call up that friend of yours and say, hey, can you help me? So maintain that network. What I will encourage Dr. Anuradha would be to say, build platforms that they can talk with each other. So create a small alumni group, or I don't know, whatever you call it. It would be informal, a WhatsApp group amongst the 30, 35 of you. But don't underestimate the power of this 30, 35 odd scholars that are here. It is priceless. It is infinite. So that's the second thing I'd like to say. The third thing is, again, I believe life is about fun and happiness and passion and love. I think Shoolini is what it is, of course, because of a lot of hard work, but I think it's about love. We bring in a huge amount of passion and love into what we do, which translates into excellence, translates into perfection. So yes, biotechnology is important. Yes, AI is important. Yes, knowledge is important. But if you are able to bring in that love and passion into your work, whatever that would be, from anything small to very large, you will not just be sitting in this row, but we'll be inviting you as a chief guest to sit in the row. And hopefully, like I said, you'll be winning the Nobel Prize and you'll be the leaders of education and science in the country. So once again, thank you very much. Go back very happy. And make sure that you take the torch of excellence to your individual institutions. Have a great day. And once again, welcome to Himachal. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. Now let's put our hands together for our visionary man, our chief guest, Honorable Chancellor, Sir, Professor P.K. Khosla, to kindly share his words of wisdom.
अभी जो कह रहे थे मेरे पीछे कि डॉक्टर खोसला को ढीला लगता है। डॉक्टर खोसला फिजिकली चाहे ढीला हो, but mentally is alert. That is artificial intelligence. The Vice Chancellor, Dr. Professor Atul Khosla, our esteemed guest, Dr. Sohi, Ashish Khosla, Dr. Puri, Dr. Kamaldev, Dr. Saurav, Dinesh, and all others, faculty members and dear students and dear participants, because you have come from the far off places to see for the first time how Shoolini works, and what is there to give it to the others. Taking the lead from Atul Ashish, when he said, combination of artificial intelligence and biology is the future, because there are two parties. One doesn't know artificial intelligence, the other doesn't know biology. So anybody who can break this taboo, he will be the leader. Example was given by Dr. STUTI. I was just reading this morning, a small reference from Mahabharata. I forgot the name also, I didn't casually. That the person has died and his wife is very saintly and they didn't have an issue. She prays and prays to Lord Shiva. I want to have a son. And ultimately, seeing the devotion, Lord Shiva came and said, I give you life for 3 days. And she then was impregnated and the child came. So I don't remember that because I didn't read it from the angle, just a passing reference. Why I am giving this example? There must be things with them also, the rishis also, which is matching with the today's artificial intelligence. Einstein told us E is equal to mc square, that mass can be converted to energy and you can move with the speed of the light. This is what our rishis were doing. That if they are standing here, in seconds they will be at another place. They call it a teletransportation. Principle to koi hoga. This artificial intelligence should solve. Can we break the mass into energy? After all, scriptures say there is no difference between the two. Energy is mass, mass is energy. It's okay, it's a simple statement. But the question is, how practically to attain it? But still, we are better than others globally, that at least we understand. I time and again say, because in this university, we often talk about the Nobel Prize. कभी ना कभी आएगा, याद बता दूं, ये हो ही नहीं सकता कि seeds which are sowing, they will not sprout, they will one day. But then they have to choose a path of different path. not the biological sciences which the Europeans say gave us, Lord Macaulay, his education, the British English and the European British and the European science. वो हो चुका period, उनकी थ्योरियां खत्म हो चुकी हैं. And incidentally, I may add, all those findings are given in your ancient wisdom. Whether they knew it or they copied it, I cannot say. I have no authority to talk about that. But there is nothing, whether you talk about the gravity wave, you could talk about the motion, laws of motion, anything, it is given. The only thing is, this is not taught to us. I was not knowing, even up to the age of 80. And many of you may not know, my interest grew from one lecture, one comments from Manchester University, where the professor has written that Newton stole laws of motion, 3 laws of motion from Rishi Convert. And my interest पैदा हुआ, and the name of the book was also given. मैंने सबसे पहले Amazon से book मंगाई, पढ़ी, फिर वहां से पता लगा एक और book है, उसको भी मंगाया. So then I was completely, एक line भी change नहीं हो रही, एक line भी पढ़ो उसको. और वो किताब जो प्रिंट हुई है, वो जाकर 1897-98 में हुई है. उससे पहले तो प्रिंटिंग नहीं होती थी. And the Newton तो आपको पता ही है, is quite late. Afterwards. तो आपको उस साइंस को नहीं देखना होगा, कभी ना कभी आपको अपनी स्पिरिचुअल साइंस को भी लाना होगा, और उसके लिए आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस शुड बी द पाथ. आज इन्होंने जो का बात कही, वो मेरे तो ये ज्ञान चक्षु खुल गए. The only way to get Nobel Prize is when anybody who can combine all these things together. हमारे सन्यासी कहते हैं, अभी भी कहते हैं, जो पढ़े लिखे हैं. I belong to the Yoga Satsang Society. Most of the sannyasis, swamis are either PhDs or doctors or all those things. कोई physics का PhD, कोई USA में PhD कर रहा था, कोई इंडिया में कर रहा था. All those are educated. वो तो समझते हैं, वो तो हमें भी कहते हैं, क्योंकि they are special because I'm the few persons who are in the university administration. So they say कि भाई अगर कोई किसी ने Nobel Prize लेना है, उनको भी फिक्र है, इतना बड़ा देश, अभी तक साइंस में 4 अपने प्रोड्यूस किए हैं, बाकी तो पीस पूस में तो मिल गए 5-6 और इकोनॉमिक्स में मिल गए. इकोनॉमिक्स इज इजी बिकॉज इट इज थ्योरेटिकल साइंस. वी आर वेरी गुड इन थ्योरेटिकल साइंस एज कंपेयर्ड टू द साइंस. तो वो अगर आपने प्राइज लेना है तो नया कुछ करना पड़ेगा. सो यू आर क्लोजिंग योर दिस मीट विद द लेक्चर ऑन आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस. मैं समझता हूँ कि इससे बढ़िया अच्छा उम्र हो ही नहीं सकता. He has shown you the path of the future, where biology and artificial intelligence have to combine. Only such institutions can go ahead. क्योंकि वो एग्जांपल जो दे रहे थे, कितने टाइम आपसे आगे सोच सकता है. एक दफा उसमें चला गया, आपने चिप बना ली वैसी, फिर तो there is no end. So many things can come up. So मेरा इस क्लोजिंग के टाइम पे यही, this is the message that do things which others are not doing. Don't repeat, don't repeat, don't repeat. अभी तक we were repeating. I as a PhD student repeated. My own students repeated. Everybody is repeating. But always think that how I can be different from others. That should be the message if India is to become the nation of pride, which we were. मुझे तो यही हैरानी होती है. What is the present government? They call themselves RSS. There is no mention in our school, there is no mention in the colleges, no mention in the higher education. Nowhere there is even a single line is there कि डरते हैं. वो कहते हैं फैनेटिक हो गई. You are a fanatic if you talk about the old things. पढ़ो, देखो, जब आपको पता होगा फिर आप फैनेटिक नहीं रहेंगे. Because you have seen these things are written before they had come. Britishers had come. So I don't undermine because they were the persons. British gave us 3 universities: Bombay, Madras, and Calcutta. That was in 1857. Prior to that, during 1192, one gentleman from Turkey, Bakhtiar Ali Khilji, he warned total institutions from Nalanda to everything was wanted to dash, and India entered into dark period. It was then in the British period, at least they enlightened us, and the institution of higher education came. So now you are fast heading, India is heading. The only thing is, you कहते हैं विश्व गुरु बनेंगे, वो तभी बनेंगे और डिफरेंट करोगे, और डिफरेंट आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस में छुपा हुआ है। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you so much, sir, for your words of wisdom. Now we'll be proceeding towards a very important session where our culturally diverse participants will talk about their experience in Shoolini and hands-on training program of DST STUTI. So for this, I would like to invite Dr. Rajalakshmi.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is a privilege to talk here, first of all, because I come from Chennai, Tamil Nadu, and I'm a chemist. So getting this opportunity to come to attend this biotechnology program in a university, which is like, I do not know what it is till the time I applied. But after started coming here, I realized like Shoolini is the name of Mata, and then they started giving this name. So the respect started here. And then after reaching here, I feel like, okay, it's a place where I do not speak a single word of Hindi, but at least today I can say like Hindi nahi malum. So that much I learned here. So yeah, so that's the basic thing. The hospitality, the welcoming nature of each and every individual, not just the scientists, students, postdocs, master students. It's like so very great that I feel like, no, I need to visit this place again. That is like really awesome. And I need to inculcate this habit in my university and the places where I work, because this is a very important one, because like completely 12 years of my research experience, this is the first ever time I'm attending a 7-day program. It's a continuous program. Generally the graph is like this, but this time when I have seen it's keep going up. And today when we were in the rooms and we started like packing our food and we started having breakfast, we said, oh, this is the last day we are going to have breakfast here and we are going to miss this place. So that is like the warm welcome what Shoolini has given us. And the technical programs, I need to specifically mention like Professor Anuradha ma'am and Nitika ma'am and the other ma'am, Chandreshwari ma'am. Awesome. And Vihang sir, special thanks to you. Like we really going to miss your talks. So you are really awesome. Like we requested that he to have a YouTube channel in English so that now we follow him and wherever we go. Like every small thing, whatever minute things we asked, no one hesitated to repeat how many ever times we asked. That kind of hands-on, it is a true hands-on experience because it is a seminar and the lecture in the morning followed by a workshop and a nice food in the afternoon. Coming from South India, I did not miss anything. So the hospitality in every aspect is really good. And I feel like in somehow I wanted to connect with Shoolini University. So I make a frequent visit at least once in a year so that I come here and do something here. And the collaboration it's definitely, we think that research goes in isolation. So people, not just in my university or my place, I have heard from a lot of other students also, they isolate themselves to do research. Actually, research is all about collaboration. So we all learned this beautiful thing in the 7 days. And it's really great to listen from few of the other master's completed students that they wanted to pursue PhD here. So when you made us comfortable, when the place comforts us, we can do anything and everything. And I'm really happy, but it's like a little heartbreaking that I'm leaving today to Chennai, but thank you so very much for everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rajalakshmi. Next, we have Mr. Uma Mahesh.
Good afternoon, everyone. When I first came here, I was very skeptical because I've come from a different background. I didn't know if I'm going to pick up anything or I'll be able to understand. And I mean, a place very far from home. So I was very skeptical. But once I reached here, once I landed here, it was all completely different. The hospitality, nothing I missed from home. It was like a home away from home for me now. I mean, 7 days you're given a lot, and Vihan sir and Lokendra sir, they all made it so easy and skills for me. I never even thought I would be able to understand anything, but here now I've learned something. I can proudly say my love towards biology has improved a lot. And I would definitely continue and pursue something on this. And I come from an industrial background, not from an academia background. So like for a startup, for a personal startup, I really thank STUTI team and Shoolini team to be encouraging and to supportive and giving the opportunity for me. And definitely collaboration, as everyone spoke about, is something which I also look upon. And I think everyone over here are looking towards a collaboration towards Shoolini, because that gives an opportunity to come again and again to have the beauty of the Shoolini and the Himalayan. So thanks a lot for the opportunity again.
Thank you, Uma Mahesh. And next we have Dr. Jaswant, sir. Sir, please, could you?
Thank you, Dr. Nitika. Sir, I am very honored to be with you at this place. Professor Khosla, Chancellor, Professor Ashish Sopti, Padam Shri, and Khosla Vice Chancellor, sir, and Puri, sir, and all the deans, faculty members, and convener of this STUTI program. You have made us mesmerizing. We learn a lot from basics to advanced. You have told me about the artificial intelligence, and it is beautiful. Place is very beautiful, sir. I love this Shoolini, the forest you have created here. Although natural beauty is there, but you have done a lot to make this place beautiful. And Shoolini Ma will bless for the future. And we think that we should come again, and such training program should be continued for the betterment of the society. I thank to DST who give us this opportunity to be present here and learn the basic things, and which we don't learn in our life, because I am pure botanist and I don't know nothing about this practical aspect of the biotechnology. We teach biotechnology in our theory, but this practical aspect by Vihang sir, by Lokender sir, it's beautiful. You have helped us a lot in learning the basic practicals in the labs. Thank you very much. Thank you, Shoolini team. Thank you for all that you have done, the hospitality from the first day, and the plants we have planted in your campus. I love that thing, the feelings I get in my heart. I love that. It's beautiful. We have a plate on that, and then my name is there. And it is the first time in my life that I plant a lot of planted. I have done a lot of plantation, but you have given us an opportunity to have a nameplate with that plant and my institution name. I love that. I will take away all the feelings, good feelings from this place and inculcate in my institution. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And next we have Ms. Neha.
A very good afternoon to all of the participants. First of all, I would like to thank DST and Chancellor Sir and Vice Chancellor Sir. And like Vice Chancellor Sir was asking about what you have learned, like write 3 things which you have learned from this place. The first thing which I learned, and I learned it on the first day, is like the hard work and motivation which Chancellor Sir have in establishing this institute. Like he achieved his goal. He has made a goal to achieve a 200 ranking in global level up to year 2022, and he achieved that thing. That is what the youngster that we are lacking today. We are going for something, and after 1 or 2 failures or 1 or 2 setback, we just sit down and then we just throw it away. But sir has always showed the persistence, and then he tried and achieved whatever he had planned for his goals. And then the hospitality was very good. I love the nature, I love the area, and right, the plantation. So that was a very awesome drive. Now somehow we are feeling connected to this university, like we have a part of us in this university, and we can come and see that part always. Like I hope that Shoolini will always open its door for us to see our plant or to visit or to work here. And I'm very much glad for everything which I have here, from the training programs to all the faculty members who are very helpful, very easy, and very as a kid, we were asking about everything in repetition, but they were always there to help us. So thank you a lot, sir, all of you, for giving us such a wonderful moment. And thanks to all other delegates and participate who were so much interactive with all of us. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sneha. That was lovely hearing from all of you. Now we'll be proceeding towards our certificate distribution ceremony. So I would like to request our dignitaries to please do the honors. So first we have Dr. K.N. Arul Jyoti. Energy should be very high now. Okay. Second, we have Dr. Lavina. Please be ready. Dr. Lavina. Dr. Dakshayani, please be ready. Dr. Dakshayani. Dr. Rajalakshmi, please be ready. Dr. Rajalakshmi. Karthik, please be ready. Karthik. Dr. Anand Kumar, please be ready. Garima Singh, please be ready. Dr. Arun Kumar. Garima Singh. Dr. Jaswant Singh Saini, sir, please be ready. Dr. Jaswant Singh Saini. Neeraj Bhardwaj, please be ready. Neeraj Bhardwaj. Sonali Kalotra, please be ready. Sonali. Mamta Devi Sharma, please be ready. Mamta Devi Sharma. Lakita Verma, please be ready. Lakita Verma. Navneeti Chamoli, please be ready. Saurav Dwivedi, please be ready. Dr. Umesh Kenata, please be ready. Dr. Umesh Kenata. Dr. Somveer Singh, please be ready. Dr. Nitish Singh, please be ready. Dr. Nitish Singh. Utkarsh Kumar Sharma, please be ready. Utkarsh Kumar Sharma. Uma Mahesh, please be ready. Uma Mahesh. Pallavi Sharma, please be ready. Devyanshi Gautam, please be ready. Pallavi Sharma. Devyanshi Gautam. Shelly, please be ready. Dr. Senthil, please be ready. Dr. Senthil. Dr. Jitendra Kumar, please be ready. Dr. Jitendra Kumar. Sneha Kumari, please be ready. Sneha Kumari. Anurag Kumar, please be ready. Anurag Kumar. Mamta Gala, ma'am, please be ready. Mamta Gala. Nidhi Negi, please be ready. Nidhi Negi. Rajat, please be ready. Nidhi Negi. Rajat. Divya Jyoti, please be ready. Divya Jyoti. Shivani Guleria, please be ready. Shivani Guleria. Anamika Chauhan, please be ready. Anamika Chauhan. Mehak Mehra, please be ready. Mehak Mehra. Swati, please be ready. Mehak Mehra. Swati. Thank you everyone.
Thank you, Nitika. So any event has a huge amount of support and efforts going in. So I would be requesting now our Honorable Registrar cum Dean Academics, Professor Sunil Puri, to deliver the formal vote of thanks. Before he gives his vote of thanks, I would like to thank Professor Sunil Puri from all of us here at Biotechnology, both the schools. So he has been mentoring us to do everything for this DST STUTI program. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Respected dignitaries on the stage, dear participants, colleagues, deans, directors, ladies and gentlemen. There is a saying, all is well that ends well. I hope everything went very well because this is the last day, as many of you have also shared it. But nevertheless, it's never last. The life goes on, we keep on moving, and we will keep on moving. And as some of you have expressed that you would like to come back to this university, we would love to have you. There is no doubt about it. Anytime you can just write any one of us. You have been now interacting with all of us. Any one of you can write anytime, and we will give you all hospitality. We would like to be with you and share your experiences also from your universities or institutes. There was a suggestions from our Vice Chancellor that we should have some WhatsApp or all. We are already having it. And I would like to share some of the views which you were interacting with the speakers, which every one of you may not be knowing, because many of you have interacted, and all those speakers, they were in touch with us. They were giving your messages back to us. I will just read one or two before I go to the actual vote of thanks in a formal way. One of you is writing, Yes, sir. It was because of your positive aura. Everyone was so eager to listen to your talk and to take a quick pic. Every one of you were taking pic with the speakers who were interacting with you, and they were also feeling very happy at that time. And that's why they were sharing your thoughts, your whatever messages you were sending to them with us. Another one I will read. I am not going to go all of those messages. There are innumerable. We haven't witnessed this enthusiasm in any of our scheduled session. So thank you very much to all of you. You have really, that means gained something for which this program was being initiated. I would like to thank our Chancellor and Vice Chancellor, as well as Dr. STUTI, who were always behind us, always pushing us. It was not, I remember, as Dr. STUTI has shared, it was only 3 weeks back when this program was being framed, planned. Myself and Dr. Anuradha were being called, and we both were hesitant. Honestly, we both were hesitant. Time period was only 3 weeks with us, getting 30 participants. Of course, I can get it within Himachal Pradesh or adjoining areas, but getting 30 participants across India, we felt it is a big task. We tried to push them, give us more time, but they were adamant, no, it will remain. The dates will remain what we have shared already with the DST. So we have no alternative, but thank you very much. We received a good response, and out of those responses which we got, you 30 people were being selected. Thank you very much and welcome to this place. As usual, your participation itself made us feel proud and privileged in a way that we feel that without you, we wouldn't have done what we have done in these 7 days. As I told, we were a bit worried, but now I am confident with the enthusiasm which you have expressed, with the words you have spoken just now before us. I got myself encouraged and my team also got encouraged. Thank you very much. My organizers have shared a list that I must read it because this is being recorded and DST would like to know who are the other one who played a significant role besides what you were looking at the person. There are innumerable persons, of course. Organizing such an event and making your comfortable stay is not a task of 3 or 4 people. It's always a teamwork. And in Shoolini, we believe in teamwork, and that's why we have been able to achieve our success. I will quickly go through. Naturally, these 3 gentlemen are there. They are always being thankful and behind the scene. Of course, the experts who came to this place had an interactions with you. We are thankful to them also. We have full gratitude towards them. This IT team who has always been sitting, I always wonder, because we are having different type of programs in our university, sometimes science programs, sometimes arts programs, sometimes liberal arts, sometimes English program, all these sorts of programs are going on. And this team is always there. They must be gaining a lot of knowledge in all the fields. Thank you very much for your always involvement and being with us. Of course, our scholars, faculty, they were also behind you and giving all the inputs, either visibly you can see them or invisibly. They were behind the scenes. I have to thank each and everyone. Of course, our director of operations and his team, who has made your stay comfortable. The hospitality which you are getting from director of operation as well as from the chalet, our director hospitality, Mr. Pradeep, we are thankful to them also. Our finance section, who will be paying you all whatever you have spent while coming to this, I have to thank them. Then Prem Bhatti, I can't see where he is. Always clicking the photos. Thank you, Prem Bhatti. You have done a wonderful job. And let me remind you, you were getting daily messages. You are getting by evening all the photographs which were being clicked for the day. Every one of you were getting. Are you getting it? Is it being shared, everyone? At least I was getting it. I know this much. Okay, what is going on? How it is going on? We were getting it only through him. We can always make out. Sometimes he was giving us video recordings also. That make us feel. We, three of them, may not be present all the time. Let me tell you, daily I have to brief them what is going on. Because they were also eager to know about the program, how it is going. Then last but not least, my all deans, directors who have been always supporting us in undertaking such programs. Abhi aapka program khatam nahi hua. Dr. Sopti has given me 2 or 3 more programs to be conducted. And our Vice Chancellor always says yes. Chancellor and Vice Chancellor, I have never heard saying no. तीसरा तो भी सुबह देखा ना, उस पे तो thought दूंगा. So I am also thankful to Dr. Kamal, Dr. Saurabh, and their team members who have been giving us all the facilities, helping us and executing the programs, and particularly the hands-on training, which was the aim of this program. I hope every one of you must have enjoyed it. And with these words, I wish you all the best in your back journey. I also seek the blessings of the goddess Shoolini, which she has always been giving us, as well as to all the participants, because now you have become part of us. You are the family to Shoolini University now. Her blessings should always be with you. And Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the wonderful words of gratitude. With this, we come to the end of today's valedictory event. And once again, thank you all for participating in this DST STUTI workshop. So formally end the program. I would request all to raise for the national anthem.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे